Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
From the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city, but here in Atlanta, Georgia, inside the College Football Hall of Fame. It's SEC Media Days 2025. Our coverage brought to you by Parish Construction and Roofing. Sign up for your chance to win $10,000 at parishbuilt.com. Also presented by Rev and Relief Windows. Fired up to be here for the next couple of hours. We've got a lot of LSU stuff to get to today. We're going to get to the entirety of the conference over the next 4 days, but a lot of LSU to get to today. I chatted with Brian Kelly a little bit earlier before they headed out, so we'll hear that sound a little bit later. Garrett Nussmeier, Chris Hilton, Whit Weeks, the LSU players that were represented here this morning, and we spoke with all of them. So we'll have a chance to hear some sound from all of those guys. They were first up. They were first out of the gate at 8:30 this morning, so they have wrapped up their obligations. And it's kind of a weird deal that we're sitting here on the front end. This is the first segment I've done from Radio Row, and LSU's coverage portion is done. But we're going to have a lot of fun over the next 4 days. We're going to have a lot of fun over the next 2 hours. Appreciate you locking us in here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Jacob Beck and Cassie Spazzali are back there on the ones and twos. Let's get things started the way we do every single day with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's opening drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
Let's get off and running here. I have not been to SEC Media Days since 2013. It has been 12 years since I was at Media Days. That one was where they used to all be, over at Birmingham at the Winfrey Hotel there in Hoover. And I was comfortable with that setup. You had Radio Row that was there in the hallway, and then you had the big ballrooms upstairs. And I kind of had the flow of that figured out. This is a little different ball game. I've gotten lost a couple times. Rivers has to come down and find me and shepherd me where I need to go, but we got where we needed to be. And we are here in a really cool setting, and it's going to be a really fun week. And so a lot of buzz around LSU today, and that's something that I certainly did expect. LSU, the big name in the morning. Today's teams are LSU, South Carolina, Ole Miss, and Vanderbilt. And as you would expect, the vibes here on LSU are pretty good. It's a sense that there's a lot of expectation on this LSU team. There's a lot of talent on this LSU team. It helps when you have probably the most accomplished quarterback in the conference returning. I think there are probably some people in South Carolina, Austin, Texas, Gainesville that may think they've got the best quarterback in the league. There are probably some folks in Baton Rouge that think they have the best quarterback in the league. In any event, you've got one of the best quarterbacks in the league coming back, and you've got a defense that's been made over with a lot of new faces. And when you talk to the LSU players today, you got the sense of confidence. You got the sense of togetherness. This is the hype season. There's no greater time for optimism than right here in the middle of the summer at Media Days. Everybody is undefeated. Nobody's blown a knee yet. It's time for optimism, and that's going to be the case with every team that rolls through here. But when you talk to the LSU guys, you sense that. Whit Weeks said it's absolutely the best roster that he's been a part of at LSU. He said he was fired up to get on the field with Harold Perkins, and that Blake Baker is just a phenomenal coach to play for, and they're fired up to be here. Garrett Nussmeier very much welcomed the expectation. And I'll say this, before 10 o'clock this morning, I'm walking around and listening to questions being asked, and LSU players answer them in 3 or 4 different settings. One was just a local media in a breakout room. One was Brian Kelly up in the big ballroom. Then the players came into the big room, and they took questions from a horde of media, and then there were Radio Row interviews. Before 10 o'clock this morning, I was hearing the term national championship brought up. I was hearing the Heisman Trophy brought up. Whit Weeks said he thought Nussmeier would win the Heisman. This is a team that is running right towards lofty expectations. And that run towards those lofty expectations runs right through Clemson, South Carolina. And in some of the sounds you're going to hear a little bit later on in the show, you will hear these guys talk about the Clemson game. And this game is being circled unlike any I can remember in LSU football that I have covered. And I've been covering the team since 2011 one way or another, whether it's writing for Bayou Bengals Insider, whether it's doing the pre- and post-game show for the network, whether it's sitting here on this show. I've been around the team in a media capacity since 2011, and I've never seen a team circle a game like this. Now, I think the 2011 team did this with Oregon without saying it. The difference is this team is saying it. They are talking about Clemson. They are talking about the fact that there is there are Clemson paw prints in the weight room. They're talking about going to play in Death Valley. And Whit Weeks said, look, I'd rather play a top 10 team to start the season than not play a top 10 team to start the season. And I looked up today, there's 6 SEC teams that are playing a Power 5 team in their opener, and 4 of those are actually on the road, LSU being one of those. LSU's is maybe the most daunting. Perhaps Texas going to Ohio State is the most daunting. But they are embracing the massive expectation on this team and targeting that all towards that first game, saying, look, if we want to get where we want to go, like, it's got to start 1-0 at Clemson. We all know that's not literally the case. Like, you can lose that game and then move forward and have a productive season. You've just got to walk a tightrope for 4 months, and that's really, really difficult to do. So I thought that it was obvious to bring Garrett Nussmeier, and I thought he did a great job with the media. I thought it was likely to bring Whit Weeks, and he was a star this morning. Everybody that talked to him absolutely loved the interaction with Whit Weeks. And I thought it was an interesting decision to bring Chris Hilton. I'm going to talk about Chris a little bit in the next segment, but he was really good as well. And one of the things that you'll hear coming up in the sound with Chris Hilton is the talk about him being the missing piece to this passing attack. Because last year they struggled to move the ball down the field deep, and Hilton does that. You saw it in the last 3 games of the season. And so that was the talking point around Chris Hilton. So we're going to hear a ton of football from those guys. We've got sound that we're going to play from Brian Kelly, from Garrett Nussmeier, from Chris Hilton, and from Whit Weeks. But I'll pivot briefly until we get to Brian Kelly in the next segment with just a little bit of an update on the baseball situation to this point. Y'all know the Major League Baseball draft cranked up last night. Cade Anderson is the 3rd pick in the draft. He was selected by the Seattle Mariners, but I think most people are just locked in on the LSU signing class at this point. I want to make sure that I don't miss anything because it's literally happening right now. Okay, no signees have gone in the last 7 minutes since I picked up this show. But as far as the signing class goes, you have lost Brady Ebel, Jaden Foskey, Briggs McKenzie, Dean Moss, Landon Hodge, Miguel Syme Jr., and Quentin Young. These are all guys, when I laid out my thoughts on this LSU baseball signing class, that I had as either definite departures or likely departures. You still have not lost a couple of big-time pieces to this class. Talking about William Patrick, an outfielder from St. Fred's up in Monroe. He has not been picked. Marcus Paz, who's a fireballing right-handed pitcher, coming off Tommy John surgery. He's a high school junior. He's from Texas, and he has not been picked either. River Hamilton, big, strong right-handed pitcher, has not been picked and is potentially going to end up at LSU. You already knew that Omar Cerna and Reagan Ricken have withdrawn their names from the MLB draft. So you still have Mason Braun and Ethan Kloss are infielders in this class that have really high upside. So while it looks like LSU, from a baseball perspective, is just getting hammered by the draft because you've had 7 signees being taken, the only one that's been taken that I thought you had a reasonable chance to get, even though I thought it was less than 50-50, was Briggs McKenzie, the left-handed pitcher from the East Coast. McKenzie went in the 4th round, 127th overall to the Atlanta Braves. The slot value there, $588,000. He will probably get a little bit more than that as really talented prep left-hander. So it looks awful, but really this is something that LSU was prepared for from the draft perspective. This would have been a nightmare 7 years ago if you had had 7, 8, 9 guys from your signing class get signed and move on because you couldn't replace them. Now you can. The transfer portal is right there for you to go in and replenish your roster however you see fit. And so you're trying to add high-end players in this class. LSU will add high-end players in this class. Just a matter of how many of them. And right now we're working through the 8th round, I believe. They just completed the 8th round. So there are 2 more rounds where you can't see names go or they're going to sign. For the refresher, for those that need this one once a year, if you get picked in the first 10 rounds, you're very, 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 very likely to sign. Because if a team takes you in the top 10 rounds and then doesn't sign you, they lose that money. They don't get to spread it out anywhere else. It's just gone. So you have to agree with guys and make that pick. There's its first pick in the 9th round, Riley Eichhoff from Coastal Carolina, interestingly enough, senior sign there for the White Sox. But 2 more rounds to go for LSU to kind of get a little bit closer to out of the woods with some of these high school signees. But it's okay that you've lost 7. I think the signing class is still in pretty good shape to this point. So that's a brief hit on baseball. Today also taken in the draft, Daniel Dickinson was selected by the Milwaukee Brewers. So he will start his professional career, and big hat tip to Daniel Dickinson. Of course, Ethan Fry went last night along with Chase Shores and Anthony Heinsohn and Cade Anderson. Really, really busy MLB draft for LSU to this point from a player perspective and from a prospect perspective. If you'd like to keep up with that, you can over at LouisianaSports.net. I've got a live tracker that's been up to date. I know a lot of y'all have been checking that out. So if you just want a refresher on what's going on instead of trying to sift through the draft on MLB.com, just go to LouisianaSports.net. I've got it all right there for you on the front page, and you can check that out for free. All right, we're going to make sure that the sound that we sent over is there, and then we're going to get to it in the next segment. My goal is to play Brian Kelly in the next segment. If we don't have that, we'll pivot to some talk from Chris Hilton and Garrett Nussmeier about Chris Hilton, because there's a real sense that Hilton could be a breakout guy on this team, and I want to flesh that out a little bit. So we'll do that coming back on this Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is that website. Every car that is on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Whether you're looking at the entry level or the highest end vehicle at Genesis, whether you're looking at the sedan or the SUV, everything in between. Every single model in the line of Genesis vehicles got an IHA top safety pick. All of them. So you know when you get behind the wheel of Genesis, not only is it stylish, sleek, comfortable, has all the technical features that you're looking for, it's also one of the safest cars on the road. When you're in the market for a new vehicle, safety is always, always, always important, and they know that at Genesis. They will take care of you there. Go check out the dealership. It's the Airline at Pico across from Women's Hospital. Phenomenal facility, phenomenal people, and one of the safest brands of vehicles on the road. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. Invite you to check out the website, GenesisofBatonRouge.com, GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Luba Workers Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier.
$10,000 cash at parishbuilt.com. Our coverage is also presented by Rev and Relief Windows.
Whole field. It's covered in tables and chairs and a big stage where Lane Kiffin just departed and some Ole Miss Rebels are meeting with the media masses down there. It's been a busy morning, and it's going to be busy 4 days here in Atlanta. Today's action, LSU, South Carolina in the morning wave, Ole Miss, and Vanderbilt in the late wave. So I wasn't able to be down there to hear anything that Lane Kiffin said. You never really know what kind of mood you're going to catch Lane in. He might be in a goofy mood where he's going to take some shots at Kirby Smart or Nick Saban or Feinbaum. You might catch him in a salty mood where you just never really know. I'm curious to see how that would deliver. I do know that he was down there for a long time because I could see him with no sound. And he met with the media for quite some time. The afternoon wave is going to be Clark Lee, and Shane Beamer has already gone, as well as Brian Kelly. So LSU is out of here. We have gotten all we were going to get from the LSU Tigers. They were here early and have departed. It was a sick purple plaid double-breasted suit that Garrett Nussmeier was rocking today. Whit Weeks went with the with just a sport coat and slacks, no tie, which I very much appreciate, going with the open collar look. And then Chris Hilton looked very, very dapper. And we got a chance to talk to all of those guys, and we'll hear from them a little bit later on in the show. Brian Kelly was so gracious as they were just about to head out of here. Like, he was done, and he sat down with me for just a few minutes. I didn't want to keep him very long because he was literally leaving, but I'm very grateful that Brian Kelly gave us a little bit of time earlier today. So we'll play that sound now for you. Here's Brian Kelly. Here on Radio Row, SEC Media Days 2025, joined by LSU head coach Brian Kelly, and what I believe is your last obligation of the day. So can you finish strong here, fourth quarter?
Let me see how the questions are. If they're good questions, I'll finish strong. It's all about you.
I'll do the best I can. There's been a lot of talk this morning about the expectations on your team based on the roster additions. How have you addressed that with them?
We don't talk about expectations. We talk about what our tangible goal is, and you know, what is specific for us is going 1-0 and beating Clemson. So all of our workouts, everything has been single-minded and focused on beating the opponent that we play in game one. And that happens to be a really good one in Clemson.
It does. I'm curious. You talked about the redecorating the weight room with the tiger paws and all that kind of stuff. I mean, is there anything material on the field that y'all you will do differently? Have you been at this a long time?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've asked Jake Flint.
Yeah, go ahead. All
right, apologies. We have some technical issues trying to get that sound back down to Baton Rouge, but we'll see if we can revisit that maybe in the next hour. Brian Kelly was good there, just talking about some of the expectations on the team, that they're not necessarily talking as much about this. I wanted to hear about the offensive line. It's been the biggest question that I've been asked at Media Days so far by folks that are picking my brain about LSU. That's kind of the nature of what goes on in here, whether it's in a radio setting, whether it's in a sports bar. Both happen quite frequently. And you're just kind of talking about the different aspects of each team, and everybody wants to ask me about the offensive line. I feel like everybody feels like the Garrett Nussmeier is a proven commodity. I feel like everybody feels like the additions in the transfer portal on the defense should shore things up. Brian Kelly said this morning. He was like, what we did on the field on defense the last 2 years has just simply not been a championship level. I mean, he was very direct and upfront about that, which is true. That they were atrocious on defense 2 years ago, and they weren't very good last year. Like, I think the fact that they were so bad 2 years ago kind of camouflages the fact that they were not very good last year. Like, they got a couple fourth down stops against Ole Miss. They got a couple turnovers against South Carolina. They did a good job before Marcel Reed came in against Texas A&M, but they couldn't get to DJ Lagway on one leg in Gainesville. And I think you would look at that and say, well, they made a step forward because they were so atrocious in 2023. But the fact of the matter is that if you're grading this on a championship curve, which LSU is certainly grading this on a championship curve, then you're not even close as far as the defense last year. And Brian Kelly said that this morning. It's like, that's not going to get it. And so I think the feeling is, but for most people, the amount of additions that they brought in are going to help that. The question is, what about the offensive line? And as Brian Kelly told me sitting right here, he's like, I mean, we knew we were going to lose 4 guys, so we went out and added 2 transfers. And one of the things that he really likes about both Braylon Moore, but more so Josh Thompson, is that they have some positional versatility. Like, Moore is going to play center in all likelihood, but also Thompson is brought here to play guard if Weston Davis can hold down the tackle spot. And if he can't hold down the tackle spot, then you bump Thompson out and he plays tackle like he did at Northwestern, and you maybe fill in with Paul Mabenga at guard, or maybe Bo Bordelon at guard. So they have a plan, but I don't how that plan manifests is quite literally going to be a huge component to whether or not LSU is a championship level football team. And that kind of goes back to how I opened the show, right? I opened the show talking about the expectation around here and the buzz around LSU and what the talking points are. And that word, championship, comes up a lot. It came out of Gary Nussmeier's mouth this morning. It came out of Whit Weeks this morning. It just did. And they've talked about it a lot. And that's the first question I asked Brian Kelly. So I think we've got that sound now. Beck's telling me that we do have it. So let's toss this to Brian Kelly and see if we can finish that conversation I had a little bit earlier. Is 2025, joined by LSU head coach Brian Kelly, and what I believe is your last obligation of the day. So can you finish strong here? Fourth quarter?
Let me see how the questions are. If they're good questions, I'll finish strong. It's all about you.
I'll do the best I can. There's been a lot of talk this morning about the expectations on your team based on the roster additions. How have you addressed that with them?
We don't talk about expectations. We talk about what our tangible goal is, and you know, what is specific for us is going 1-0. And beating Clemson. So all of our workouts, everything has been single-minded and focused on beating the opponent that we play in game 1. And that happens to be a really good one in Clemson.
It does. I'm curious. You talked about the redecorating the weight room with the tiger paws and all that kind of stuff. I mean, is there anything material on the field that you will do differently? You've been at this a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've asked Jake Flint, and he's done a tremendous job of reminding them in all of our runs what we're doing here. You know, what is this training for? And this training is to be your best when you play Clemson. So running through the line, doing all the extraordinary things that you need to do to develop yourself and be better is about beating Clemson.
A lot of folks are talking to us about LSU, being that we cover LSU, and one of the first questions we get is on offensive line. How do you feel about replacing 4 guys up there with what you've seen so far?
Well, I mean, look, you have to be prepared for replacing prior to replacing. If you're just knee-jerk reacting to we're losing 4 guys, we knew we were losing 4 guys. And so it was a matter of developing the younger players in a manner that allowed them playing time. Paul Mabenga played a lot for us. DJ Chester started 13 games. You know, Colin Eccles played for us last year. Tyree Adams played for us, and Weston Davis played in the bowl game. So we were building to that, but we felt like we needed more, and that's why we got Braylon Moore from Virginia Tech, an experienced 3-year starter at center, and Josh Thompson, who's a guy that can play right end, right tackle, and right guard. So we addressed those needs before you actually lose all those guys. That's why I feel really good about the offensive line that Brad Davis is going to have.
When you look at y'all statistically passing the ball last year, ton of completions, high percentage, great on third down. Maybe the big play might have been the missing piece.
It was.
Hilton, how big a deal is that to have him healthy?
He's huge. Barron Brown helps. Nick Anderson helps. Aaron Anderson helps. You know, I just think there's a lot of weapons now that we can push the ball vertically. You know, where we struggled a little bit is when you kind of latched on and played deep coverage, soft coverage. You kept it in front of us. We couldn't have anybody that really, you know, break through and run by people. We got some guys that can run by it now.
No question about it. We'll go on defense here and we'll get you out of here. we had Chris Hilton a little earlier, and he talked about going against DJ Pickett. I want to give him a shout out about how tough it was to deal with him. How has he looked in the spring, and do you expect him out there pretty quickly?
He's an extraordinary player. I mean, I think we're going to start, when we get into camp, it's going to be now about, legitimately looking at who are the starters. We didn't do that really in the spring. The spring was much more about our technical and tactical development. But now we got to get ready for that first game that we've earmarked as being, this goal. So we'll know early on the first week or two. He's playing for us next year. There's no doubt he's ready to play. Does he start for us? I think we'll kind of let that play out in the first couple of weeks.
We appreciate your time. We'll let you get on home.
My pleasure. Good to be with you. Thank you.
That's Brian Kelly, LSU head football coach. Back with more from Radio Row. It's SEC Media Days 2025 here from Atlanta. The
Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is that website. Look, it is storm season. We know that. And in our part of the world, they happen. And you got to be prepared. And the way to handle a storm from an insurance perspective is not to have it blow through and then go check the policy. You need to be prepared on the front end. And if you're a client at Highland Insurance, you will be, because that's how they take care of their clients. They certainly know that premium is important to you, the buyer. So they're going to make sure they shop your policy with dozens of their contracted markets, and they're going to find you the best rate, but certainly keeping in mind that the coverage is so important. Because if you don't know what your building valuation is, you don't know what your business interruption limit is, or you don't know if you're going to incur co-insurance penalties and not be paid in full once that storm blows through, you could be in some trouble. That's never going to happen if you're with Jonathan Carbo and his team at the Highland Insurance Group. Check them out at HighlandIG.com. They're in Baton Rouge. We can help you out anywhere in the state of Louisiana. It's the Highland Insurance Group. Find them online, HighlandIG.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more
Live from the 2025 SEC Football Media Days, powered by Parish Construction and Roofing. Enter now for your chance to win $10,000 cash at parishbuilt.com. Our coverage is also presented by Rev and Relief Windows.
Here in Atlanta, SEC Football Media Days 2025. Again, thanks to Brian Kelly for taking a little bit of time here, as you heard in that previous segment. Coach did not have to do that, not on his schedule. He had just completed 965,000 interviews over the course of about 4 hours, and he gave us 5 minutes there at the end, which we certainly did appreciate. Part of those interviews that I was mentioning there were conducted by the local media at the beginning of the day. Garrett Nussmeier spoke with the local media, as well as Whit Weeks and Chris Hilton. So a little bit of sound here from the LSU signal caller, who I thought was really good at Media Days. He joined the morning show guys live here on our set, and he also talked to Matt Moscona, which we'll hear on After Further Review a little bit later on today. And I thought he did a really good job just everywhere that I saw him doing interviews, and talked about a number of different topics. Really ran the gamut. One of them was about the college football landscape and how it has changed at this point. Here's Garrett Nussmeier.
The landscape for college football has changed a little bit. Obviously it's turned into more of a pro model. So I think Coach Kelly and everybody upstairs have done an unbelievable job just adapting and getting ahead of the times. I think that our program in general, everybody's bought in to what the expectations are. Not just us. Not just the players. It's coming from the entire staff. It's coming from the training room all the way up top to Coach Kelly. So very exciting. Very exciting.
That's part of what I was talking about at the top of the show, just talking about the expectation of this team, that everybody understands why they're lacing up the cleats here in the late summer. They're doing that to go beat Clemson and to be a factor when this thing rolls around to Thanksgiving. That's the plan that everybody is preaching at this point at LSU. And they've gone, and if you want to call it the pro model, which Garrett just did, you're talking about free agency, which they just went and bought basically a whole new defense and 2 pieces on the offensive line. You're talking about a way of running a roster from a dollars and cents perspective that looks far closer to the Seattle Seahawks than it does to Catholic high school. Like, this is not your father's SEC football. This is a whole different world, and that can create some issues when you've got guys that are coming from different parts of the country, that have played on different teams, that are making different amounts of money. Like, that's the pro model, and now that's what LSU is dealing with. But if you talk to Garrett Nussmeier and Chris Hilton and Whit Weeks today, you hear nothing but the fact this is the closest knit team that they've ever been on. This is the most talented team they've ever been on, and they start talking about those expectations, and that's just the fact of the matter. Now, my question to Garrett was about the offensive line, because this is, to me, we cannot emphasize the importance of LSU's offensive line enough. We cannot overemphasize it. It is that big a deal to this football program and to this team this year. And I asked Garrett, what do you think about your offensive line at this point in the calendar?
Well, when you lose 4 starters, it's tough, But I think that the best part about that is those guys set an expectation and a standard. And I think the younger guys in the room have really rose to that occasion. They know what it's supposed to look like, and they know what's expected of them. And I think they've done a great job of rising to that occasion. Our offensive line is one of our hardest working units. And so just seeing that out of them, they want it just as bad as everybody says they do. And, they hear all the noise about people saying that they aren't going to be anything. And I think that they like that. They want people to doubt them. So, I have full confidence in them, and I'm very excited for them.
It's a big deal, and it's the same thing I asked Brian Kelly, where it's just a situation where they sit there and they go, well, we knew we were going to lose 4 guys, so here we go, let's get it done. And that's all well and good. The next man up thing is true. Like, that's how this thing functions. The next man literally has to step up and do the job. But as I say all the time, like, sometimes the guy that steps up isn't as good as the guy that just stepped out. Like, that's just the way it goes. And if that's the case for LSU, it could make life very difficult, because one of the first things I did in the New Orleans airport was pick up this Lindy's magazine. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see I'm holding it right now. And you go through the unit rankings on defense and nationally. Top 10 defensive lines in the country. Number 1, Clemson. Bang. Thanks to a pair of potential first-rounders in edge T.J. Parker and defensive tackle Peter Woods, this star-driven unit for the Tigers mirrors some of Clemson's best all-time. That's the first line I'm reading about defensive lines, and that's the group that LSU's brand-new offensive line is going to go play in the season opener, and that is a daunting task. We saw LSU with a makeshift offensive line 3 years ago in the season opener. And it ended up with Will Campbell being the left tackle, and then you played Florida State, and they kind of kicked your butt up front. That was a really good Florida State defensive line, but they kind of kicked your butt, and that's when you end up moving Emory Jones in, and he played the second game and never came out of the lineup, and you made a bunch of changes, but you were 0-1 when you did that. And if you can't block Clemson and you can't run the ball, and Garrett Nussmeier is not as upright as he was last year when LSU, despite their struggles running the ball, did a great job of protecting the passer and letting him throw for 4,000 yards, then the offense starts to wobble in a big way. So it's just massively important. If this offensive line, on the flip side, if it's really good and they actually do run the ball and Nussmeier is clean, so these ridiculous wide receivers that LSU just lined up go out there and eat up some grass, like LSU is going to be a nightmare to try to deal with. But that's the question. Like, is it A? Is it B? The talking point today has been handled well. It's just a matter of whether or not those guys can go out there and make it happen. And now this is the third talking point that we've spent a lot of time on, both on this show. I wrote a story about it on LouisianaSports.net earlier today, and the players and Brian Kelly were asked about it a ton. And if you listen to Brian Kelly's interview that I just did with him in the previous segment, you heard him say that we're getting ready for this opener to go 1-0. That's been a huge talking point, and Garrett Nussmeier talked about that.
We accept and we understand that, we failed in the last couple of years in week one. We haven't rose to the occasion. And I think it's more of just understanding how important that week one game is. It just happens to be Clemson this year. And so I think our focus is fully on Clemson, but more it's focused on week one. We want to start the season 1-0 because we know that's what it takes to get to where we want to go ultimately. And I think in the past we've looked too far into the end goal and less about the week one opportunity. And so I think attacking that week one opportunity to lead into the end of the season, I think, has been good for us.
This is going to go one of two ways, and you already know this, but it's going to go one of two ways when Labor Day weekend rolls around. Either LSU is going to go to Clemson and do something that very, very few teams have done in the last 10 years. That's beat Clemson in Clemson, South Carolina. And if they do that, then we'll talk about this 1-0 mindset and a changed offseason and putting the Tiger Prince in the weight room and all the focus being on Clemson and all the talking points, and we'll talk about how great that was. If they lose, it's going to be a tough scene in Baton Rouge with 6 straight openers, even though you said you were putting all the focus you could possibly put on this one football game. So it is a razor's edge on how this thing is going to fall. We've seen it both ways. We have seen LSU stumble out of the gates and not recover over the last few years. We've seen LSU stumble out of the gates in 2023, or 2022, I should say, and then catch fire and beat Alabama and play for the SEC championship in this city. We've seen LSU come out of the gates in 2011 and beat the brakes off of Oregon and then never slow down until January. So we've seen it go a lot of different ways. It's a tough assignment, but it's one that a lot of people feel like this LSU team is ready for. And Garrett Nussmeier is certainly one of those, and he's one of the reasons why people feel the way they do about this LSU team, because he's as proven a commodity as there is in the sport at the most important position in that sport. So that's a little Garrett Nussmeier there on this Monday. Hope your work week is off to a good start. Let's pivot briefly here and tell you about a couple things that have happened in the Major League Baseball draft. A couple of LSU Tigers off the board in the 9th round. Jerry Jones, a 9th round selection of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Jacob Myers, a 9th round selection of the Minnesota Twins. Jerry Jones leaves LSU as a 2-time national champion, number 3 on the all-time home run list, number 1 on the all-time home run list of those who played just 3 seasons in Baton Rouge, and now he's a 9th round selection. Slot value at that spot is in the neighborhood of $205,000. So hopefully Jared Jones can get a few nickels from the Pirates, and maybe he can join Paul Skeens in the show here in the coming years. For Jacob Myers, I'm surprised he lasted until the 9th round, to be quite honest. That's a guy that I kind of pegged as a 4th or 5th round pick because of the massive upside that you're dealing with. You're talking about a guy in Myers that gave up 4 hits on the season. 4 hits on the season in 15 innings of work. They just don't hit him when he throws it in the strike zone. But we know that strikes were an issue. The 2 years he was a starting pitcher at Nichols, he led the nation in walks both years. Comes to LSU, works out of the bullpen, but he did kind of find a role. And let's keep in mind, if you think about the legacy of Jacob Myers, he gets a big strikeout with a runner on third base in the last inning of that Arkansas game and kept the Hogs within striking distance so they could throw up on themselves, choke the game away, and LSU could come back and walk them off in the next half inning. So Jacob Myers did his job at LSU. He came in and became a guy they could trust, and they did trust in Omaha. Now he'll have an opportunity as a 9th-round pick of the Twins, right around $200,000 to try to make his move in professional baseball. Jay Johnson said early in the offseason into the early season that he thought that Jacob Myers was a big league pitcher. And that was a weird thing to say because Myers didn't really have a huge role on the team and had consistent command issues. But that could be true. He's a big-time talent, and we'll see if he can rise in the system there from the Minnesota Twins. Some guys that have not been picked to this point from the LSU roster: Connor Ware has not been selected, Chris Stanfield has not been selected, Jaden Newt has not been selected, Zach Cowan has not been selected. All of those guys have the opportunity to come back to school if they would like. I told you entering the draft I thought that they would get Zach Cowan back. I thought that they would get Jaden Newt back. I thought that Chris Stanfield and Connor Ware would both probably leave. I still feel that way. We'll see what shakes out here over the next 4 or 5 hours. Luis Hernandez has also not been picked. He does not have the ability to come back. He is out of eligibility, but had a great run in his final season there in Baton Rouge. We are here at SEC Football Media Days, our coverage of SEC Football Media Days from College Football Hall of Fame here in Atlanta is, of course, brought to you by Parish Construction and Roofing. Sign up for your chance to win $10,000 at parishbuilt.com. Also presented by Rev and Relief Windows. Step aside. When we come back, we're going to talk with Dr. Jeremy Burnham of Oxford. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Luba Workers Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Live from the 2025 SEC Football Media Days, powered by Parish Construction and Roofing. Enter now for your chance to win $10,000 cash at parishbuilt.com. Our coverage is also presented by Rev and Relief Windows.
It was interesting walking into the hotel lobby. There's a bar in there that we got some dinner at last night, and I'm just looking around, and it's my Twitter feed it's my Twitter feed coming to life. That's basically what that bar is. It's just all these SEC sports writers that you get information from all over the region, and they're all just confined to one spot. And now we're all here for the next couple of days for SEC Football Media Days 2025. Certainly a very, very highly anticipated season, and it's going to be a great week. We're fired up to be here, and we appreciate our sponsors for making that very, very possible. It's, of course, Parish Construction and Roofing. Shout out to the folks at Rev as well. We'll be here until Thursday. Morning show got things started today. They'll be on every morning. Jake and Flynn had Garrett Nussmeier on this morning. Matt's going to have Garrett Nussmeier as well as Chris Hilton on as well later on today. And so we've got folks walking all over the place, and we're going to get Chris Marlor here in the second hour to talk a little bit of South Carolina Gamecocks, because that's a team that is interesting to talk about, because Lenora Sellers comes back as kind of the face. He kind of took college football by storm there late, took out Clemson there in Clemson, South Carolina, and he's the face of that team now. But you lose a lot off of that defense that was so good last year. You still have Dylan Stewart, who's great, but you lose the rest of your defensive front, which is a big deal. And who are the weapons on South Carolina on the outside? Like, do you buy into Nick Harbor being a star? Like, he looks like it. He's 6'7" and runs track, and he's an incredibly athlete. Like, he checks every physical box that you could possibly check, but he hasn't really done anything. So it's one of those deals where it's potential until it's realized, and at this point it has not been realized. So I'm curious about South Carolina, and they'll make a trip to Tiger Stadium, so we'll talk to Chris Marlor in the second hour about the Gamecocks. Plenty to do in that hour. I want to talk about Ole Miss as well. LSU will play Ole Miss, and LSU plays Vanderbilt as well. Diego Pavia is here today wearing a bow tie. Had a monster year last year and is back for one more year, so we'll talk about all those teams in our second hour today. Now it's time for Sports Health, presented by Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Time now to welcome into the show Dr. Jeremy Burnham from Ochsner. Dr. Burnham, thanks for the time. How are you today?
Hey, I'm doing great. Good afternoon. I hope everything's going well there.
Everything's going awesome. It's the unofficial kind of start of football season. It is talking season, and it's a lot of fun. We appreciate you jumping aboard for us here, here on this Monday. Summer is kind of winding down a little bit. We're getting close to football practices beginning in August, whether it's college like we're talking about here on the high school field. And you were talking to me earlier about some of the things that you can potentially do to help get in front of potential injuries as football, which has got to be among the most injuries that y'all see as you get closer to the fall.
Well, that's right. So as we're kind of transitioning away from some of the spring and summer sports, obviously going into the fall season, and what a lot of people don't realize is that injury prevention really starts during the off season and starts during the preseason. So all of the work that the athletes are doing right now is really going to make a difference in terms of, not only performance, which we know about, but also in terms of injury prevention. The better in shape you are, the better you're moving, the more prepared you are, the lower your risk of injury. I think that strength and conditioning is a huge part of that. Obviously, there's a lot of time that goes in behind the scenes in the weight room with these athletes leading into the season. So this is really the crucial part. We have a great performance training group here called Ochsner Performance Training, actually, that works with athletes, of all skill levels, all the way from professional athletes to, elementary athletes, that is working to help try to get them better from a performance standpoint, but also help to lower the risk of getting injured during the season.
Stretching is something that we've also talked about as well that people just don't tend to do, especially young folks that just kind of take things for granted. Is that something that y'all try to emphasize?
Yeah, well, I think that the older you get, the more you appreciate how important the routine is ahead of time. And so it is hard to get young people to buy into that. But I think it's warming up, just getting the blood flowing. I think we've all seen the elite athletes, elite pitchers out there, the routine that they go through before they go pitch a game, right? And so I try to work with my young athletes and just say, hey, if it's okay for them to do, I think it's okay for us to do too. And so really putting that time into it, we call it kind of housekeeping, right? Just getting the required stuff done. It's all about consistency. It's not about having some big heroic effort of stretching or warming up or training ahead of time. It's just consistently doing that every day.
I always want to give you an opportunity to talk about what's going on in Elite and let people know, because it is so new, that it is walk-in available and y'all are open. So if you could just refresh everybody's memory on what's going on over there.
Yeah, thanks, Hunt. So we have a walk-in clinic here. It's open 7 days a week. It's 5444 Burbank. It's at the corner of Burbank and Lee. You don't have to have an appointment. If you have something that's aching or acute injury and you need to get it checked out and your schedule just happens to open up, you can come over here. We have Ochsner performance training on site. You can go to performance.ochsner.org, check out those options. They give you a week free trial. So if you want to sign up, but you're not sure, you can try it out for a week and see. We have just a great team. Peyton Thomas is our local leader here. Patrick Cook was a physical therapist in town for many, many years, worked with high-level athletes. He's now overseeing all of our musculoskeletal services and also our performance training. And they've really got them locked in on the science of performance and the science of injury prevention. That's all here at Elite, working with Elite Training Academy, 2 turf football fields, indoor turf football field, weight room, all of those types of things for you to come train and rehab over here.
That is awesome. Hey, next time we talk in 2 weeks, LSU will be on the practice field. The Saints will be on the practice field. High schools will be about to crank up. So it's getting to be an exciting time and certainly going to be a busy one for you all. So we appreciate some time on this Monday.
Absolutely. It's getting close. So look forward to talking to you then.
Awesome. It is getting close. That's Dr. Jeremy Burnham from Ochsner. Always appreciate him for giving us a little bit of time every other Monday. We are here at SEC Football Media Days and also keeping an eye on the Major League Baseball draft. I've dipped in a couple of times to get y'all up on what's going on. I certainly have to do the same thing myself. I mentioned in the previous segment that Jacob Myers and Jared Jones were off the board in the 9th round. They are one pick away from closing out the 9th round, and LSU has not to this point had a signee taken in the last 3 rounds. So right now you're still holding fairly strong with that high school signing class. You got hit hard in the early rounds with Brady Ebell and Jaden Fauske, Dean Moss. They all went. Then the first pick today in the 4th round, literally the first pick out of the gate, was Landon Hodge, the high school catcher. It was taken by the White Sox, number 106. And then Briggs McKenzie followed later in the 4th round. Thought they had a chance to get Briggs McKenzie to campus, talented left-hander, but the Braves took him there at number 127. And then you look at what's left. You've got Jonah Ace, who's a left-handed pitcher, who you feel like has a good chance to get to campus. Mason Braun, a really good hitter who plays first base, left-hander from South Bend, Indiana. He has not been picked either. Ethan Kloss, who is a really good shortstop in this class. You pair him with Jack Ruckert from Catholic High. That's 2 really quality infielders that you're going to add in this class if they don't get selected. And then William Patrick is probably the biggest draft risk alongside River Hamilton. But if you're talking about offensive players, William Patrick from Monroe, St. Fred's High School, has not been selected to this point. And that's a guy that is incredibly toolsy and incredibly athletic. And if you can get him through the draft, that'd be a big win for LSU. And then Marcus Paz, who is a right-handed pitcher from Texas. He has not been picked either. The report from Kylie McDaniel on ESPN was that he's going to be a difficult guy to sign away from LSU. It appears that is coming to fruition as we complete the 9th round. Those 2 guys are huge names in this signing class. You would really like to get them. 2 guys that I didn't mention earlier that have been taken. Miguel Syme was taken with an 111th pick. He's a fireball and 100-mile-an-hour fastball from New York. And then Quentin Young was never going to come. He was the 54th pick of the draft for the Minnesota Twins. He's going to make a lot of money at that spot. 6'6", MLB pedigree, so was never going to be a guy that LSU was going to get to campus. So right now, signing class has been picked on a little bit, but it's still holding strong at the back end, and you haven't had any signees here in the last hour or so. So I'll continue to update you as we move through the draft. It's been going on since 11:30 Eastern time this morning. It'll continue into the late afternoon hours. I'll keep you posted on all of that as we continue to move forward here from Radio Row in Atlanta. We got a lot to do in hour number 2. I want to talk about South Carolina. I want to talk about Ole Miss. I want to talk about Vanderbilt. It's one of those days where LSU plays all 3 teams that are here with the Tigers, so they're going to be worth talking, and we will certainly do that when we come back on the other side of SportsCenter. We'll get you caught up on some national headlines. And we'll have our second hour for Radio Row here in Atlanta. We're at SEC Football Media Days 2025. and we'll see you after Sports Center.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Sports Center. I'm Doug Brown with NFL news from ESPN's Adam Schefter. 49ers wideout Jawan Jennings wants a new contract by the start of training camp. If not, he'll ask for a trade. Jennings is under contract for $7.5 million this season, the last year of his deal. The Major League Baseball Home Run Derby tonight in Atlanta. It's at 8 Eastern on ESPN Radio and TV. The hottest team in the game right now, the Red Sox, who've won 10 straight. for manager Alex Cora.
We still got a long ways to go. We're happy with the stretch. We're happy with the way we've been playing. Trevor and Rafaela have been amazing, playing good defense, pitching well. We have a good baseball team.
Alex Cora, ESPN's Shams Charania reports Cavaliers president Kobe Altman signs a contract extension that runs until 2030. Cleveland has the third best record in the NBA over the last 3 seasons. After her magical run to the Wimbledon final, American Amanda Anisimova moves up to number 7 in the world rankings, the first time she's been in the top 10.
Your summer drink is here. Twisted Tea is a smooth, refreshing, hard iced tea with 5% alcohol, making it the perfect drink to take any day this summer to the next level. Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We are here at SEC Football Media Days inside the College Football Hall of Fame. Cassie Spazzali, Jacob Beck back there in the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. My pleasure to be joined by Chris Marlor, Locked On Gamecocks.
We work together.
Yeah.
Same company. Yeah. Could have opened with that.
That was kind of the point. I want to talk about South Carolina. Of course, you can read Chris's stuff at louisianasports.net. I don't know what to feel about South Carolina. Can you help me with that?
Well, I'll start by saying as long as the refs don't get in the way.
Sure. Yes, of course.
I honestly, there's a lot to be concerned about, especially defensively, because you are replacing a ton of production.
Good dudes. They beat some people up last year. I mean, they took A&M and just whipped them.
Yeah. I mean, same with Oklahoma and a lot of other teams as well. But what's kind of scary is the production they lose. You lose all 3 linebackers. You lose 60.5% of your tackles. You also lose both interior defensive linemen. And those guys were not just run stoppers or just people that would plug the middle, but also each had 4 sacks. And so all the rotational guys and Eamon Warrior on the back end, that's a lot to replace on defense. But you have Lenore Sellers.
They do.
And he's really good.
I want to talk about Lenore Sellers because as part of my research for this week, I watched a lot of YouTube highlights of quarterbacks from the conference.
Oh, that's fun.
And Lenore Sellers' highlights were very rarely on schedule. He's just kind of running around out there, and he's kind of faster than that defensive end, and then he throws it over there. But it never looked like he got the snap, sat there, and made it work. So, talk to me about what you expect from him this year. Do you expect a progression, or is he just he's good at this is what he's going to do?
So this offensive line at South Carolina has given up 41 sacks in each of the past 2 years. And the reason why that's so egregious is because one time it was with Lenore Sellers, who is an incredible athlete, as you just said. The other was Spencer Rattler, who's not the most fleet-of-foot guy. So you lose a ton in the interior of that offensive line as well. I think it's 93.5% of your snaps. But I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. They should be better on the offensive line. The big thing, I think, is he's such a good athlete, and he's such a good runner, and he's so gifted at being able to escape and extend plays that it somehow translated with the casual fan that he's not a good passer.
Yeah.
And if you look over his last 6 games especially, I mean, he struggled early on. He struggled against LSU.
He looked bad in that game, save a couple of throws before he got hurt. He hit a couple big throws, and he made a huge run. But, in terms of throwing the ball, I was not impressed.
When they went to Alabama, they had everything kind of seemed to turn a corner. They lost that game, but you saw him reel off 70% completion percentage, I think, in 5 of his last 6 games, 17 total touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Protecting the football was a big thing. And the first half of the year especially, 9 fumbles. He only had 2, the last however many games. But I do think that he is a much better passer than people think. And I also think the talent he's going to have at his disposal from the skill position is going to be a lot better than it was a year ago.
Is Nick Harbor going to do anything, or is he just going to be fast and big?
I pray to God that he is awesome. Because I have been saying since I feel 2018 that he's Nick Harbor breakout. I've been so excited for it. Him and Trey Knox, I have been talking about them going to the next level for a decade. I mean, he has all the tools, but here's the thing too. He just started playing football not that long ago. And then on top of that, this is the first full year where he didn't have track in the spring, which by the way was not just for conditioning or for fun or he liked doing it. He was training for the U.S. Olympic team. So he's very elite, but one of the quotes he had was, almost dumbfounding how and frustrating with what he said. He's like, yeah, I finally know all the routes in the route tree. It's like, good. It's awesome.
It's year 3.
Proud of you, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it's so – how big a deal is Dowell Loggins moving on and them trying to figure out what they want to be on offense?
Dowell Loggins, the first 6 games of the year was awful.
Yeah.
I mean, just awful. And I don't know what clicked the final 6 games. I don't think that losing Dowell Loggins with how bad he was for the first year and a half or so, especially the first 6 games, like they were in the bottom 5 of almost every major category in the SEC. Mike Shula coming in, having 40 years of experience, also with a quarterback like Cam Newton, who you told me off air that is basically the same as Lenore Sellers. He's like a poor man's Lenore Sellers. I
just making things up.
Yeah, that's what, it's fine. But I do think that they are not going to have a massive step back.
Yeah.
I think, again, the biggest thing is like the floor from the talent level has been constantly rising over the past couple of years.
What are the vibes like with South Carolina fans? Like last year kind of came out of nowhere, at least to me, and now you're a team that was thought of as a potential outsider for the playoff.
Yeah.
Do they expect to be right back there, or what's the feeling?
I don't know. Hope is
not a lot of positive, history in South Carolina football.
Let's not get into that for sure, because I'm pretty sure. I think you can count on 2 hands how many 9-win seasons they've had. But what he's been able to do, and how quickly he's been able to turn it around, I think that 2022 November kind of cost them in 2023 because they just didn't have as much talent. Like they don't have a roster that's loaded with dudes like everyone else in the SEC. I do think last year there was the entire country, not the entire country, but a lot of people from the outside of Columbia were thinking he was on the hot seat. They were going to go 5-7. They were not going to be a good team. There was a very quiet confidence inside those 4 walls the entire offseason. They knew what they had. This year, I feel like they have a really good team, but it's going to have to be a lot more like, I'm not comparing him to Cam Newton, but it's like, can this guy go out and win you a ball game? Because he's going to have to do something that's going to win you at least 1-2.
Well, they better get off to a good start because I'm going to read the end of this, and it is not pleasant. At LSU, Oklahoma, Alabama, at Ole Miss, at A&M, Coastal, and Clemson.
They're like 2-10 against A&M. They've never won.
Yeah. So the beginning is Virginia Tech and Atlanta, then South Carolina State, Vanderbilt, at Missouri, Kentucky. That's the first 5. It's very manageable.
Yeah.
If they don't cruise through that, it's a train wreck.
So here's the thing, though. Like I always say this with Carolina, the schedule is a schedule no matter what, because they're coming off of where they used to play Georgia in September, Clemson in November, every year of their existence. Last year, the end of the season, they won 6 straight games. 4 of those 6 teams were ranked at the time. And also, by the way, Vanderbilt, who was ranked like at 25th, they beat them by 21.
Yeah.
Bama obviously lost to them. Texas only beat them by 3. You saw what they did to A&M, like you brought up. You saw what they did on the road to Clemson. You saw what they did, against Missouri late. They won a lot of those games. Oklahoma's another one. They won a lot.
The fight.
Yeah.
I didn't even remember that.
They got into a dance-off.
I now recall. Fred Bielema.
I mean, just
what a
absolutely
troll.
bullied Shane Beamer over and over and over again. And here's the thing, too. It's like, maybe one thing. Obviously, he was being kind of a jerk,
yes.
I'll say. But you can't have that happen and then not run 10 people out on the field the next play and have to take a timeout because, like, you've lost your composure in the Cheez-It Bowl.
Did Shane have anything to say today? I mean, he sometimes is decent for a good quote.
He
gave you a good question.
I'm gonna look both ways here. He is very long-winded, and
yes,
that's coming from me, which is crazy. No, he had some good stuff. I think that he has a constant chip on his shoulder that really aligns with how this fan base feels about a lot of stuff in that program, whether it's accurate or not, or it's going to change or anything like that. He did say they feel like they have like the pieces in place to make a run, and they do have a lot more depth. The recruiting has been a lot better. And here's the thing, too. Every year they're going to be in the same group where you're going to just dismiss them and not give them, like, the benefit of the doubt. But that's just where they live. They're like, no offense, Rivs. They're like Mississippi State of the East. I used to always say that. They're like very mirrored programs. But this guy, like, you look at it, like what he's done from the portal and from a development standpoint.
Yeah.
Like, he hasn't had a lot of misses. And everyone they're getting, like, they're turning 3 stars into top 50 draft picks. And there's a lot going on in that program that doesn't get enough credit.
It's one of those deals. It's about, and you're talking about what they are. They're in the middle tier program here in the SEC, maybe bottom third of the what was the East. it's like, who are you? Like, what's your expectation? Like, do you want to try to swing for the fences? Do you realize that you're probably not going to hit a home run, and you've got a guy that's making you competitive? Like, there's a fine line there.
With like coaching?
Yeah, like in terms of what you expect out of the program.
Well, and Spurrier ruined
this
fan base.
He did.
Because like that would be like if Saban came to Bama for 6 years.
Yeah.
And then just left after like the kick six. But like in the middle of the play. Because he left mid-year. So Muschamp obviously.
Yeah, he left after LSU beat him.
Yeah.
That was the last game. I was like, all right, that's it.
I mean, it is a fan base that has not had a ton of success, for sure, like you said. And it's also a fan base, though, that's kind of easy to, I feel like, appease. Like you want to make sure you're bowl eligible. You want to be in contention with Clemson. And the biggest thing for them is they're not expecting 11-win seasons every year. But there is a feeling in this fan base where it's like, when are they going to start being taken seriously? Because I tell you what, I will go to my deathbed saying, I know they lost to Ole Miss. I know they lost to Bama. If Alabama had won 6 straight games over 4 ranked opponents and Jalen Milroe, your favorite quarterback, was 17 touchdowns and 4 interceptions against that competition, they would have been in the playoff. 1,000%.
It's possible. It's I'm still skeptical. I think they just look at the number right of the dash and they just don't care how you get there, and that irritates me. I think that's the way.
Committee?
Yeah, you lost 2 and you lost 3, so 2's in, 3's out.
Yeah.
Like that, and that drives me nuts. But I can't disagree that you're right on that. And so, yeah, it's very possible. I'm curious about South Carolina because that's going to be a pivotal game for LSU too. I mean,
in Death Valley,
he's a scary. When the quarterback can make plays and do some stuff, you always got a swinging chance.
I think that the thing with Beamer too is that his first 3 years before last year, he was 2-10 in road games in the SEC. Like, they were not very good. Last year, they ended up going 3-1. I think the one loss was to Bama by 2 points.
Yeah.
And then the 3 wins were by an average of like 23 points per game. So maybe they've turned the corner, or maybe it was 1 year, but we'll see, man. It's gonna be. We have so many opportunities for house divided stuff at the job.
With South Carolina.
South Carolina, Alabama. I'll pick up another team. Mississippi State.
Yeah, we got plenty. We're very well represented. Very diverse group there at Guaranteed and LouisianaSports.net. Appreciate a little bit of time. We'll let you get back to work. Whatever it is that you're going to do.
I'm going to stay for the next segment. It'll be good.
We're going to talk about Whit Weeks in the next segment, so you can hang on if you want to do that. So,
he should be a politician.
He's the best. He's hilarious. Yeah. He's absolutely hilarious. Had a big time today. So we'll hear from Whit Weeks when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Huh. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Live from the 2025 SEC Football Media Days, powered by Parish Construction and Roofing. Enter now for your chance to win $10,000 cash at parishbuilt.com. Our coverage is also presented by Rev and Relief Windows.
Chugging along here, Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We're on Radio Road, SEC Football Media Days 2025, the unofficial kickoff of football season. LSU, South Carolina, Ole Miss, and Vanderbilt on day one here from the ATL. Before we get to some Whit Weeks sound, the 10th round has come and gone in the Major League Baseball draft. Cade Woods was selected, right-handed pitcher from LSU, in the 10th round by the Atlanta Braves. I believe the Braves will use some of that slot money, although it's not a ton of money, to help pay Briggs McKenzie, who they took a little bit earlier today, who was in LSU's signing class, left-handed pitcher from North Carolina. They won't have to pay Woods much at all, and if they need to save some money to go get McKenzie, they will go ahead and do that. So the first 10 rounds have come and gone. Now is the interesting part of the draft where you can take a player and there's no slot value. You can pay him as much as you have from your bonus pool that's left over. So that's just an issue of what teams have big bonus pools, what teams took seniors and have money left over, who got players under slot. There's a lot of nuance to that, but if you're looking for updates on the MLB draft and how things have gone for LSU, you can check out their draft tracker on LouisianaSports.net. It is up and running. I will add Cade Woods to it when I'm done with this segment. But let's talk some football. Whit Weeks was here for SEC Media Days, junior linebacker in his home state of Georgia. And the first question that was asked was like, hey, how you feeling? That injury was pretty gruesome in the bowl game.
I'm 100% now. So we started this summer, doing PRPs, and I kind of eased my way back into it in June. But once we got to July, I've been going every single snap, and it really is a relief to just be back out there and be feeling like myself again.
And that'll certainly be a wonderful sight to see for LSU fans because he just had a monster season last year. Whit Weeks finished second in the Southeastern Conference in tackles, just insanely productive. Is going to be on preseason All-American lists, and deservedly so because he's been a great player at LSU for 2 seasons. Hopefully in his draft year, it's another awesome one. They asked him what he's looking forward to with this football season.
Oh, everything from the top to the bottom, the guys that we brought in and the guys who are coming back this year. One of the things that I'm most looking forward to is getting back out there with Harold. I mean, he's obviously, in my opinion, the best defensive football player in college. So getting back out there on the field with him, I know me and him are just going to have a blast out there together.
I mean, how can you not love Whit Weeks? The guy is just a ball of energy. It's not going to be in the cuts we play for you here, but he was asked by one of the non-local reporters after some of these answers that he gives. He's got this huge smile on his face, and that Georgia drawl comes out. And somebody asked him, like, is this how you always are? Or is this kind of like you on the camera for media days? He's like, no, this is just how I am. Like, he's just an incredible guy to listen to when he's in front of the mic. He's talking about Harold Perkins, and then the question was back, like, okay, well, where should Harold Perkins play? And this is what Whit said.
Just let Harold be Harold. I mean, that dude's a superstar, so if you just let him be him, he's going to go make every single play in the world. And really, this offseason, him rehabbing and me rehabbing, we got really close this offseason. And when the days looked long for me, he was always a guy that I could lean on, and he would always push me to be my best in days that I couldn't even hardly walk. He was right there beside me, hey, look, keep your head up. You're going to get through this. It's going to get better.
Those two guys are the backbone of this defense. Whit Weeks and Harold Perkins are the backbone of the defense. They are third-year players. Harold's actually, I guess that'd be fourth year. No, just third year. Third year for Harold. And it's those two guys, their athleticism, their ability to run and to play in space is going to be a hallmark of this defense moving forward. But they'll also added a ton of different players to this LSU defense, a lot of whom came out of the transfer portal. And Whit Weeks talked about the defense being more than just a couple of guys at linebacker.
That's definitely something I embrace, yes, sir, for sure. But at the end of the day, it's not just me and Harold out there. We got me, him, and 9 other dudes who I all think are incredible football players. Like, it's not just me and him out there. Our defense this year, we got from the top to the bottom, safeties, cornerbacks, linebackers, outside linebackers, D tackles. I think we have a great unit this year.
That's the hope, and I feel better about the defense than I do the offensive line. If we're talking about the question marks on LSU's team, the offensive line gives me a ton of pause. The defense, I think, is going to be better. I just do. I think that they've done such a good job of identifying veteran players who have skins on the wall in college that can come in and do their job. And I'm not telling you it's going to look like the 2011 defense, but not the 2003 defense, but I think it's going to be better, and Weeks is a big part of that. And this is a fun answer to listen to from Whit Weeks when he talks about how this group has kind of bonded together in the offseason. This is Whit Weeks talking about his defense.
I believe that our chemistry really wasn't built on the football field. It was built in the offseason when we're just spending time together outside of football as a unit, everybody hanging out with everybody, hanging out, having a good time, just boys being boys, rather than trying to just be out there on the football field. You really create those special bonds in the moments away from the football field when you're not talking about football, when you're just being friends, being best friends, playing the video game, whatever you're doing. That's when that chemistry is really built, and I think we've done a great job of that this offseason, is spending intentional time with each other away from the football field.
I mean, that's some wholesome commentary right there from Whit Weeks, talking about playing video games, guys being guys, hanging out with the boys. It's just a guy that loves being on a football team, and he loves being on LSU's football team. And one of the reasons he loves being on LSU's football team is because Blake Baker is the defensive coordinator, and Whit Weeks gushed about his defensive coordinator today.
I think Coach Baker is the best coach in college football. I love that dude to death, and I've said this many times before. The energy that he brings every day, it's hard to go in that building and not be on 100 at all times, because he's going to be on 100 at all times. And we love playing for him, and there's nobody else in this country that we would rather play for than Coach Baker.
He told a story about Blake Baker today. They were low on numbers entering bowl prep. So Blake Baker he wears cleats to practice. He comes out, and he was repping on the will linebacker side to give the defense the look it was looking for. Like, he was out there practicing with the team. And Whit Weeks said he still got a step, old Coach Baker, but he loves playing for him. He loved talking about him earlier today. And that's a look at kind of the defense. But I wanted to cap this segment with another bite from Whit, talking about Clemson, because if you were listening at the top of the show, or if you've heard any LSU commentary today, they've talked about Clemson ad nauseum to this point, and Whit Weeks talked about it as well.
We know what our goals are for this season, and one of our goals is obviously to win that first game. So every day we go into work and we see that paw print, and we're like, all right, this is what we're doing this for right now, is to go win that season opener.
They've got it painted all over the weight room. There's paw prints on bags that they're hitting and in the weight and equipment. It is a huge, huge, huge point of emphasis for this football team to find a way somehow to get to camp and get to the football field and win the first game. It's just they're sick of losing that first game. It takes the air right out of the balloon, and this is just a season where you can't afford to have that happen because there's so much anticipation, there's so much excitement, there is a lot of talent, and there's a lot of talent that's not going to be here this time next year. There's a lot of guys on that team that are going to play their last year of college football either because they're out of eligibility or because you're sitting here talking about a guy that's going to go to the NFL. So it's a huge, huge game. They've talked about it all morning. And certainly Whit Weeks gave his thoughts on it as well. So that's a little bit of insight from Whit Weeks, who was really the star of the morning wave of the interviews. The folks that had not heard Whit Weeks or had not been around Whit Weeks or interacted with Whit Weeks, it was really fun to watch them do that. I will say this. If you were listening to the morning show today and you heard Garrett Nussmeier on with Jake and Flynn, and you heard the disappointment in Matt Flynn's face when Garrett Nussmeier had never heard of Jonathan Moxon, which for those of you listening, I think most of you probably have an idea who that is. Of course, the quarterback from Varsity Blues. Nussmeier didn't know. And they said on the air, like, Whit's our only chance. Like, he's got this. We know Whit is going to know who Jonathan Moxon is. Hester tracked him downstairs. I was right there. He asked him who Jonathan Moxon was, and Whit Weeks looked at him like he was nuts. Said, I have no idea who that is. And Hester was devastated. I relayed the news back to Flynn. Devastation. Those two guys felt like their hopes were Nussmeier and Weeks, and neither of them came through with the Varsity Blues information. But Whit Weeks did say that he would watch the movie. So we'll see. You'll get maybe more reporting on that tomorrow morning on Off the Bench, showing those guys fired up from 7 to 10 here at the College Football Hall of Fame. All right, when we come back, one of the guys that I think is a potential breakout player on this LSU team is Chris Hilton. He was here today. We'll hear some from him, some from his quarterback as well about him when we come back on this Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge, genesisofbatonrouge.com is that website. Every new purchase comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. That's as good as you're going to find in the industry. 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Also, 3 years of complimentary maintenance. If that's not enough, 3 years of valet complimentary maintenance. Nothing worse than sinking your whole morning into car maintenance. Not productive, not particularly pleasant generally, not what you want to do. Well, you don't have to. They'll come get your car. They'll get it serviced. They'll give you a loaner so you get on about your day. They'll bring your car right back to you when it is done. That's part of the experience of being a Genesis driver. Check out the entire inventory online at Genesis of Baton Rouge, but I highly recommend go by and see them. Airline at Piku across from Women's Hospital. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. Find them online, genesisofbatonrouge.com.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always. No paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered.
Live from the 2025 SEC Football Media Days, powered by Parish Construction and Roofing. Enter now for your chance to win $10,000 cash at parishbuilt.com. Our coverage is also presented by Rev and Relief Windows.
Garrett Nussmeier, Whit Weeks, Chris Hilton, LSU's three representatives at SEC Football Media Day earlier today. You will hear from Chris Hilton and Garrett Nussmeier. And all three of them. You'll hear from all three of them on After Further Review. I was curious if I saw all three of them here. I did. So you'll hear from all three of them. I want to talk about Chris Hilton in this segment. If you listened to the show in the first hour, when I sat down with Brian Kelly, one of the questions I asked him was about Chris Hilton's impact on the offense, specifically last year's offense, which was incredibly efficient in the passing game. Like, they were great. Nussmeier led the country in completions for much of the year. They were the best third down team in the Southeastern Conference. They were very good at completing passes and matriculating the ball down the field. What they weren't great at was hitting the big play. And Brian Kelly, I said that to Brian Kelly in the first hour. He agreed. He's like, yeah, we couldn't get the big play. And now we've got guys that can burn because they've got Barry and Brown who can absolutely go. And we know what Chris Hilton can do. And Chris Hilton came back last year in the last 3 games and caught 3 touchdowns for 27 yards per catch. He is a burner and a game changer and a difference maker that LSU just didn't have outside of Hilton last year. And I think that missing link is going to be so vital to this LSU team. You have got to get safeties and corners out of the box so you can run the ball. And you can do that by lining up scary dudes on the outside at wide receiver that can run by you, and Hilton is one of those guys. So I thought Chris Hilton did a really nice job at Media Day today. I had a chance to see him in multiple interview sessions, and you'll hear this sound, which was in the big media ballroom. There were 4 or 5 reporters there, but they kind of let me, since I was the only local person there, have a few back and forth with Chris Hilton. So here's just some things that I got out of Chris Hilton earlier today. Chris, last year y'all's passing game was really good.
Yeah.
The big play wasn't quite there as much. When you were watching from the sideline, did you feel like I might be able that I might be the missing piece for that?
Yeah, and I mean, as we all saw when I came back, it didn't hit off right away, but we saw what it was the last 2 games. So it's gonna be the same thing this year.
You and Garrett have worked together a lot. Y'all came in together. What's your chemistry like with him?
We came in the same class in 21. We both old now, you know what I mean? So, like I said, we just been working on that connection, that chemistry for the last 4 years.
Y'all brought in some wide receivers. Y'all got a lot of talent in that room.
Yeah.
Is it like a fight for the ball, or is there a competition? Like, what's the relationship you've got with the whole group there?
We one big family. A lot of jokes being cracked, a lot of dances, trying to being figured out for the games. I think the stipulation would be that you would think it would cause problems, but at the same time, everybody's going to eat. Like, that's the reality of the situation, you know what I'm saying? You can't just put your focus on one person as a defense, because if you focus on one person, you're leaving 2 others. And if you somehow find a way to guard 2 people, you still got a third. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
40-yard dash, who's going to win with a wide receiver group?
Me.
Is there anybody close? I mean, Jelani runs pretty good.
I'm joking, bro. It's a bunch of fast guys in that room. Me and Jelani go back and forth all the time about who's the fastest. We tied right now in races. So, yeah, we just about to have this run. Like, if we ever get the chance to race, we always race. Like, that's just how it is.
That's some good stuff, I think, from Chris Hilton. That's absolutely true. There are a lot of talented wide receivers, and it sounds like they understand that at this point, not everybody is going to make 16 catches a game. You're going to have to eat when it's your opportunity, and Garrett Nussmeier figures to give a lot of those opportunities. So whether it's Chris Hilton one day, Barry and Brown one day, Nick Anderson one day, Aaron Anderson one day, you mentioned Jelani Watkins, who's as fast as anybody in college football. There are a lot of dudes that can catch the ball on this LSU receiving corps, and that didn't even mention Trey'Dez Green and Bauer Sharp at tight end, who can be really, really good. But I thought that after I heard from Chris and chatted with him a little bit, I walked over and got a chance to ask Garrett Nussmeier a question about Chris Hilton. And I'm going to use this in my story for LouisianaSports.net a little bit later today, but I asked Garrett about what Chris Hilton brings that they didn't have from him last year.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that speed, people like to argue, was his only thing. But I believe, since the beginning, Chris has had a special talent, as far as tracking the football, route running, and he's only gotten better and developed over the years as well. And so that speed is now an elite trait of his that he uses as a weapon. And, obviously we were raving about Chris, in fall camp last year, and nobody was really able to see that early in the year because of his injury. But I think if you watch the last 3 games of the season last year, you could see how much of a different team we were and would have been if we would have had a healthy Chris Hilton. His ability to take the top off, his ability to run a backside dig and catch it and go 60 yards to the house because of his speed is unbelievable. And so he's done an unbelievable job of just attacking and whether it was recovery throughout his rehab and things like that. And obviously we came in together, so that's somebody that I'll always have a relationship with, and so I'm super excited for him this year.
It's Garrett Nussmeier talking about Chris Hilton. I can tell you this. August is a time for a massive amount of optimism. Everybody's undefeated, and my song and dance on that whole deal. But the smoke around Chris Hilton the last 2 fall camps is not made up. It is not something that was behind closed doors, that's a narrative that's being pushed. We go out there and see some practice, and when we go out there and see some practice, Chris Hilton was dominating. He was making big plays down the sideline. He was high-pointing red zone catches. Like, he was doing everything you need a wide receiver to do. I think when he got to LSU, he was a straight-line speed guy, and that was enough in high school. You go to Zachary and you just run real fast. That works just fine. But everybody's fast in the SEC, and in college football, you've got to be a complete wide receiver. You've got to learn the technical aspects of what you're doing, and Chris Hilton has developed that. We just can't ever see it because he's been hurt all the time. And there's nothing that guarantees that he'll be healthy this year. But if he is, he brings an element that LSU desperately needed. And I think that in a small part, I talked about this in the first hour, a small part of LSU's inconsistency in the running game last year had to be because they didn't threaten anyone deep. You just weren't scared that Kyron Lacey and Aaron Anderson and C.J. Daniels were going to hurt you deep. And Mason Taylor certainly wasn't. It was a team that lived and died in the intermediate and short passing game. And that brings everybody up to the line of scrimmage. And then you're trying to block them all to run the ball, and you can't do it. So the threat that Chris Hilton and Barry and Brown bring to LSU's offense, that they can line up and run right by you for a scoreboard changer, is big in a bunch of different ways, and it affects the way that teams can play defense against you. So I think Chris Hilton is an easy pick to be a big-time playmaker on this LSU team. That's the sense you got from Brian Kelly today. That's the sense you got from Garrett Nussmeier. And that's the exact same you heard from Chris Hilton, who told me, like, you saw it in the last 2 games, it's going to be the same this year. He thinks he's just going to run by everybody. And he might. He certainly did against Oklahoma in Tiger Stadium. And he did in the bowl game against Baylor as well. So I think that's a very, very interesting storyline for this LSU football team as we move closer and closer to the actual season, which is coming your way here in just a month's time. All right, we're here at SEC Football Media Days, 2025 edition on Radio Row. Clark Lee is up there talking to the journalists there in the room. He's the last coach to do so. Brian Kelly led things off today. And you had Shane Beamer, Lane Kiffin met with media for an extended period of time a little bit earlier. Now Clark Lee is wrapping things up. We talked a little bit about South Carolina. I know we only got one more segment left to go, but we'll pause. We'll come back. I'll talk briefly about Ole Miss and Vanderbilt. Then we'll play some Take It or Leave It, and we'll pass the baton to Matt, who will be here for AFR from 3 to 6 right here at the College Football Hall of Fame. Don't go anywhere. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. It doesn't have to be a huge renovation. They can do a huge renovation. They're a licensed contractor, bonded, insured. He can handle that if you need a brand new bathroom. But if you do something simple, he can do that too. Tub-to-shower conversions are David Duvall's bread and butter there at One Bath and Closets. If you have a tub that you don't use, well, why don't you go ahead and get rid of it? Put a gorgeous glass walk-in shower in, change the look of your bathroom, change the functionality of your bathroom as well, add a little value to your home. It's One Bath and Closets. Get that free consultation at OneBathAndClosets.com. OneBathAndClosets.com.
With bold leadership and a growing population, Louisiana is rewarding excellence, attracting high-value companies, and fueling opportunity. Louisiana is winning now, and the sky is the limit. With every region and industry growing across a beautiful state that's more than a culture, it's a community with a quality of life that's more than satisfying. It's sustainable because the Louisiana you thought you knew is better than ever now. Come home, Louisiana.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Live from the 2025 SEC Football Media Days, powered by Parish Construction and Roofing. Enter now for your chance to win $10,000 cash at parishbuilt.com. Our coverage is also presented by Rev and Relief Windows.
Things down for a Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show here from SEC Media Days in Atlanta. Kind of the day of the celebrity quarterbacks for the SEC. You got Garrett Nussmeier, Lenora Sellers, you got Diego Pavia, and then you got Ole Miss with Austin Simmons, who is new. Let's bring on a quarterback, Greg McElroy, former Alabama quarterback, of course, with WJOX over in Alabama and the SEC Network. Greg, thanks for the time. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm good, buddy. It's great. It's a fun day. I love talking season. I do. It's so much
here.
fun.
It is here.
We're here.
And it'll be here for a while.
We're in it.
So let's talk about those quarterbacks that I just mentioned. We'll start with the one locally for us with Garrett Nussmeier. Had a big year in his first year as a starter, threw for 4,000 yards last year. What did you like in his game last year?
There's very little not to love. I mean, the guy is awesome, really gifted thrower. But BK told us that 2 years ago. I remember we were doing the first game of the Brian Kelly era. They were playing Florida State. And they're sitting there like at that point, it's Jaden Daniels or Garrett Nussmeier. Who's going to start? He goes, I got to be honest with you guys, it's so close. We're going to go with Daniels because he's played. But this is a photo finish here at the end. And if Jaden struggles, Nuss is in. Like, he basically told us that. And we're like, no way. All right, cool. Awesome. This Nuss kid must be the real deal. And sure enough, like, he's stuck to that. He goes, this kid Nussmeier is really good. He's really good. And just continued to go back to it. He got his shot last year. And he played great, but he did do some of the things that I think that had held him back from becoming the guy when he was competing with Jaden. He takes chances. He's bold. But the one thing I think that he can clean up a little bit is understanding when that chance needs to be taken. There's a time and a place. And if it's, hey, got to have it situation, you're playing on 4th and 10 against Ole Miss, you got to make that throw, make it. By all means, fit it in a tight window. But maybe don't have to try that with 3 minutes left in the first quarter when you're on your own 31-yard line. And I think he's just the process of evolving. Last year I felt like he was very much in prove-it mode. Like, I got to show the world. I'm going to show you guys what I can do. Now he doesn't have to do that anymore. Everyone already acknowledges he's great. Now it's just about cleaning up a few things and then being a little more willing with his legs to keep defenses honest.
Brian Kelly said today in the big ballroom, like, the defense we've put on the field the last 2 years is just not even close to being a championship defense. What do you see when you've seen LSU on defense the last couple of years, and how much better do you think they can be with the additions that they've made?
Well, there was progress made last year, but the problem with Blake Baker's system, and I've kind of tried to paint the picture for LSU fans, to go from what Matt House did 2 years ago to what Blake Baker wanted to be last year, defensively you're thinking, oh, there's 40 linemen. How hard is it? Like, it's the same thing. Like, oh, they play this coverage. Cool, same thing. It's the equivalent of going from Les Miles' offense with the fullback and 2 tight ends to Joe Burrow's offense with Joe Brady in 1 year. And yet, yeah, there were tangible gains, but there were also a lot of big plays given up because guys were not always in the responsibilities that they needed to be in. Now they are, I would think, have a much better understanding of who goes where and how the puzzle fits together. So there are not going to be as many freebies. There's not going to be as many cheap big plays given up. There's not going to be as many gashes in the run game because guys will understand where they're supposed to go in the big picture scheme. So I think Blake Baker, when he hired him, I'll stick to it now, I thought it was a phenomenal hire. And I think with the athleticism that LSU can attract, it should be a really, really good and disruptive defense this season.
Lenora Sellers was here today with South Carolina. LSU does play South Carolina in Baton Rouge later on this fall. Does he have enough of a supporting cast?
TBD. You know, I think last year his supporting cast was Mazeo Bennett in the slot, and then he had a really good tight end, Josh Simon. Josh Simon's gone. Mazeo's back. Nick Harbor's still there. He now did not run track this year, so hopefully he gets that springtime bump that we haven't gotten from him in the past. And then they've had a couple guys that were a little bit banged up at times. So the honest question, I'm bullish, I'm optimistic, but I don't know for certain. The good news is with Lenora Sellers' skill set, you don't have to have like an outrageously gifted supporting cast. Like, he's good enough to just take the game over by himself. The man would go a long way if you had to double cover one of his receivers, because that would be one less guy to account for his legs in the run game. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see his development, and if that group around him can grow, that offense can be really scary.
Greg McElroy is our guest here with Sanderson Farm. We'll talk about that here in a second. But let's talk about Austin Simmons at Ole Miss. They've lost so much from that team that was so talented last year. How do you feel about Lane Kiffin's squad this year?
Well, we'll talk about Austin Simmons for a second. Defensively, I have concerns. They just lost so many good pieces, and they were really, really good defensively last year. Now they have a few guys back that have played that'll be helpful, but there's a lot of new faces and a lot of star power that was lost off that front defensively. But Austin Simmons is a guy I feel really good about. I mean, a lot of your listeners, I would imagine, are diehard baseball fans. If you're not, we need to have a conversation because LSU.
I've got the draft pulled up right now,
pretty
so don't
dang
worry.
good in baseball. So I don't think I'm telling anybody listening in your audience that they didn't know that. But you know, when you watch baseball players throw, there's like a certain freedom within their shoulders. There's a certain freedom with how they release the football. Their arm is almost whippy. You know, it's like it doesn't look natural. Patrick Mahomes has some of that, where he does things with his arm. It's like, how did he do that? It's like it bent backwards at a 90-degree angle, and it feels like he should have a torn rotator cuff. Austin Simmons has some of that. Just really a natural release, really a unique release, really flexible in his upper body. So he just has he's fun to watch. I mean, that's kind of the best way I'd use to describe him. He's kind of like a middle infielder that can throw it from anywhere. And I think he's got a lot of potential. And they got good supporting cast around him too. So I think Ole Miss on offense is going to be scary. But I think on defense, they're going to have some problems.
One more. I got to get a vibe check in Tuscaloosa before I let you get out of here. Obviously, year one with Kalen DeBoer. You got a new quarterback coming in with Simpson. What are the vibes in T-Town?
Well, what I've been trying to just continue to emphasize, and this is by no means excuse making, right? Like, we don't make excuses at Alabama. Nobody makes excuses at Alabama. We don't make excuses on behalf of Alabama. But if you look at the teams that lost their coach, when they lost their coach that time of year, the challenges were significant. You look at what Michigan was in the first 2 months of the season. You look at what Washington was off a national championship. They don't even they get to a bowl game, but barely at 6-6. And you look at Arizona, preseason favorites in the Big 12, or one of the preseason favorites. They finished 4-8. That was a really hard time to step into the role. So it was hard, I think, for Kalen DeBoer to get everybody to really buy into his system, because there just wasn't enough time. He had to sell guys, hey, stay, please stay, please stay, please stay. So as a result, he kind of lost the luxury of being able to kind of put the hammer down from time to time. But I think that the roster is well-equipped to be much better this year, have more continuity. The quarterback play last year was really up and down. This year's quarterback play might not have the ceiling of last year's quarterback play, but whoever it is, that guy's going to be steadier. I think he's going to be steadier. He's going to be a little more predictable and easier to coach around, I think. Whereas I think they've also improved along the receiver core, and I think at running back they'll be just fine. The offensive line's the big question. I think they're going to be fine. I just don't know if they're going to be elite. But that's okay. I don't know that many teams that are elite along the offensive line anymore. So I think Bama's going to be really good. To me, the top four are Texas, Bama, Georgia, and LSU. Those are the top four. Whatever order you want to have them in is perfectly up to you. But I think it's those four and then a slight gap. And then you start getting to the next tier with Oklahoma, with South Carolina, with Florida potentially, with Tennessee potentially, and a handful of others. But those first four are kind of, I think they've kind of separated a little bit from the rest of the pack.
Tell us about Sanderson Farms. I know that's why you're here.
Well, they're so excited to be a part of the SEC. That's what I think is. You know, sometimes you have big brands and stuff like that are like, oh, okay, yeah, the SEC, cool. Sanderson Farms is so fired up to be a part of the SEC because they've already invested in SEC programs. They've invested several different universities in their poultry science divisions. They've done such a great job of kind of ingratiating themselves into the league before they were an official sponsor. So now we've just made it official. You know what I mean? They dated for a long time. Now it's official. They're married. And it's fantastic. So we are thrilled to have them. What I love, my wife's, she's all about health and all this stuff. No additives, no added sugar, no added salt, none of that stuff. I mean, it's clean, quality chicken. So to have them as the official chicken of the SEC is fantastic. I think one thing that's really cool, too, they're giving away tickets to this year's SEC championship game. In airfare, hotel, swag, you name it, they got it. All you got to do is follow Sanderson Farms on Instagram, tag a friend, and the winner will be announced in November. So that is an opportunity, too, to get involved, get activated, and potentially come and watch the SEC championship on Sanderson Farms dime.
Awesome. We got 2 minutes to go. We'll let you get out of here. Appreciate it, Greg.
Good
to talk to you.
Thank you, guys.
That is Greg McElroy, former Alabama quarterback, national champion, and with WJOX and with Sanderson Farms here today. We're winding things down here. Always want to tell you about our guys, Flight by Yuengling. It is the next generation of light beer. Bring you Take It or Leave It every single day. But we didn't have time for Take It or Leave It today because we had Greg McElroy, and we'd rather chat about that. So shout out to Yuengling. It's the summer months. It's hot. If you're looking for something cold and refreshing, light on calories, full on flavor. It is Flight by Yuengling, the next generation of light beer. Been a fun show and a lot going on here at SEC Football Media Days. Started things up this morning at about 7 o'clock your time, 8 o'clock this time, with the boys on Off the Bench. Said great show. Had Garrett Nussmeier sit down with them. They'll be back in action tomorrow. And we'll have another full day on Tuesday here with 4 new teams. Today was LSU, Ole Miss, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is winding things down in the ballroom just in front of me here. We had a great conversation earlier with Brian Kelly. Had a good conversation as well with Chris Hilton that you got to hear. So if you missed any of that, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show, like, subscribe, rate, and review. We certainly appreciate you getting our content in front of as many folks as possible.
30.
MLB Draft is 10 rounds down. So I've got a tracker up at LouisianaSports.net right now. If you want to see how LSU's signing class and current roster have been affected, you can do that all afternoon for free there. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to pass the baton to our guy, Matt Moscone. He's going to drive you home from 3 to 6 on After Further Review. We're back tomorrow from Media Row right here at SEC Football Media Days 2025 with another edition of The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.